you know someone, or are you personally battling a drug and alcohol addiction? Why are so many people addicted today? And why have so many people died as a direct result of this disease? If you've been affected by this problem and want answers like we do, then join us in our efforts to face this disease. Our purpose is to examine the truths, expose the lies, and uncover and provide resources to this affliction. Come, join us in this journey. Hi, welcome to Addiction and Recovery TV. I'm your host, Charlene DeChico, and joining me today is the amazing Dr. Joyce Brown. She's also known as the Hope Doctor and suicide prevention advocate, not to mention author of these two amazing books here. Please help me welcome Dr. Joyce Brown.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about your story, a little bit of who you are.
I'm really glad to be able to share this story. From the time I was 8 years old, I thought it was going to just be so wonderful on the other side. Actually was very ill, had a near-death experience, and found out how important Earth life is. I've written my books and telling the story. The one book, the first one, God's Heavenly Answers, tells most of what it's more like to be on the other side. The other one tells how to find a purpose for living.
So when you first wrote God's Heavenly Answers, you had the near-death experience, and you say that you actually died and went to the other side, correct?
Yes, I did. I actually died, went to the other side, and saw how important Earth life is.
So let's just kind of unpack that a little bit with this whole dying and going to the other side, because in the book you talk about suicide and losing family members, and even yourself having a desire to want to die. So when you died and went to the other side, you would think, well, hey, this is great. I got my wish. But not so much, huh?
Well, I had heard how nice the other side is, and I'm very practical. I wanted to die and go there. But actually what I found out when I died, I was up and out of my body, and I had a life review. I saw how I'd wasted my limited Earth time. I wanted to come back, but I had no idea that I could come back. It was over for me. But having begged God and having actually finally getting another chance to come back, then my main thing is to help others to realize there's no free lunch here, there's none over there.
So basically you died, you're on the other side, your dream of having that freedom or escape wasn't what you hoped, and you kind of put in your book that you instantly knew that there was grief involved. You weren't as happy as you thought you were going to be from dying and going to the other side. And you received this message that you come back to share with others. And so this is where we're at today. I think so many people are thinking of that great escape. If I could just die, if I could just go to the other side, I wouldn't have to deal with being here or life as it is. But having had someone here today that has gone to the other side and had that same wish, sharing their experience, that it's not what you think, that if you choose to take your life, you might be disappointed.
Absolutely. When we're over there, we look back with the life review. We know what we did or what we didn't do. And when it's over, we see if we've wasted our limited Earth time or use it to helping other people. And I promised if I had another chance to live, I would share with everyone who would listen the importance of using our limited Earth time wisely. The next time I die, I want peace of mind. And the way I'll be able to do that is who I've been able to help here while I'm here.
Dr. Joyce, in your book, you talk about, in your life review, where someone, maybe they feel like no matter what they've done in their life, it didn't matter, but you say otherwise. Tell us about that a little bit.
Oh, when I came back, I was really surprised to find that anything I had repented for was not in my life review.
Really?
But also, I was very surprised to find, from my point of view, someone else's point of view, and God's point of view, which was totally different. And, you know, we don't have to be perfect. And another thing that I found with some of the knowledge that just came to me, because there was so much knowledge given to me, is that trying counts. Now, in this life, it's win or lose. But on the other side, trying counts. God knows the intent of our heart, and He's there to help us so that we can receive miracles. And as we help others, it helps us. But trying counts.
Dr. Joyce, you're saying that in the message of your book, God's Heavenly Answers, Near-Death Experience Revealed, you had this experience on the other side, and knowing that dying wasn't the answer for you, you came back to and chose to live life and live it more I would say, with purpose, right, with having this message.
One of the things I tell other people is, what if it's worse for you over there than what it is now? And in my book, God's Heavenly Answers, Near-Death Experience Revealed, I share many of the answers and the things that I found over there. So if someone is feeling suicidal, immediately I say, well, if suicide's a good idea, it will be a good idea next week after you hear my story. Then after someone decides to stay here and they want to live, then they need to find their own true purpose. And that's my second book, and basically finding hope and a true purpose for living, so they can make certain they enjoy the other side when they get there. I've had so many challenges through life and made it through. And at the time, I thought, oh, why am I having all these challenges? Now I realize that it helps me to understand people, to help them where they're at. And I've had many miracles in my life, and others can have miracles too. And that's the main message, is there are reasons for living. We can have miracles, and we can help others to have miracles. And I'm known as a Hope Doctor, but my goal is to help everyone be Hope Doctors that would like to share the message, share others. When we help someone else, then we too are helped. We have a new energy, a new reason for living, a new purpose for living.
So with so many books being printed and shared with others, maybe you have received the book and received the hope that Dr. Joyce is sharing, or maybe you're actually suffering today and you're thinking that your life is hopeless and you're feeling completely lost. Well, this is your opportunity to go on the website, give us a call today, and reach out, because these books have been made available over the years completely free. So you can go on the website today. You can receive either one of these books or both, and make this decision to not only feel better in your own life and purpose to live a life of happiness by practicing the principles that you would find in these books, but then maybe you can make a difference in someone else's life. So many people have gotten the book, but there's still so many people that Dr. Joyce would like to reach. So you have a vision, Dr. Joyce, of wanting to raise up Hope Doctors all over the world. And tell us a little bit about that vision.
That really is a great vision to help others. And when they go to hopedoctor.org, it's so that they can get the book for free and then read it and help share it with others. Because as we share with others, it helps us. And we do have a vision. The whole world is in need of hope and miracles. And so if others will share, we hope with the goal to get to 1 billion people. There are people out there hurting, and they need this message. We're each only one, but we are one. And if we believe in miracles, expect miracles, and be a miracle for someone else, then we'd love to hear from you and your story, and so that you can be a Hope Doctor. And that's the mental energy, is to hear who we've helped.
If you've received this book and you know who Dr. Joyce Brown is, and you've implemented this material, this valuable information in your life, it's your time now to make a difference in someone else's life. So we're starting an initiative to raise up Hope Doctors all around the world. Will you join us in this effort to come together to unify, and almost like a hope crusade, in being able to talk to someone who might feel like they're on the edge?
The main thing is for them to read the book, to know that there is life after life, and life is worth living. That's the main message, is that go to thehopedoctor.org, life is worth living. We grow from problems. If we want to develop muscles, we lift weights. And when we want to develop spiritual and mental muscles, we make it through problems. The mind expanded by a new idea never goes back to its original size.
With so many people suffering today, how do you know if someone is wanting to give up?
You know, no one can really tell if someone's thinking of committing suicide. There's such a surprise, and it's amazing. I've watched as some of the notes come in, don't feel bad for me, I'm at peace. And they have this myth of believing all they have to do is die to get away from all the problems. But we never know when someone is suicidal. So it's better to say, would you like to make certain you enjoy the other side when you get there? Because sometimes people don't want to admit that they're feeling that way. Just do what we can and share. The message is worth sharing and reaping miracles.
Would you join us in our efforts to bring hope around the world? Become a Hope Doctor. Go on the website and receive these free books today, so that you can make a difference not only in your life, but people around you. And this is the initiative that we're calling you for today. Become a Hope Doctor. Receive the hope and give the hope.
life is worth living. We can make it through all kinds of problems if we have the determination and with the attitude. We have miracles. It's just miraculous, the things that we can do when we think the right thoughts. And then it manifests to us. But helping someone else helps us in the long run.
The other thing is, maybe you're watching and maybe you're thinking, well, a lot of people have a hard time with understanding or thinking about the other side or what it's like when we die, or even if there's a God. So if you were talking to someone today, Dr. Joyce, that's maybe not a believer or doesn't have any hope for this life or the next, how could you speak to someone watching today that maybe has no faith or belief in anything after this life, that your story is real?
That's a very good question. Is my story for real? The International Association of Near-Death Studies have around 20 million reports of people who've had near-death experience. They've discovered they're still the same person when they come back. But I had such a different, a special experience of being able to share it with others. And also when someone wants to give up and they say, oh, there's no other side, what if there is another side? Because if they live a good life and they get to the other side and they find out that it does count what they've done, then they've really accomplished and they can enjoy it, certainly enjoy the other side when they get there. But if they live a bad life, they're out for themselves, they don't care about other people, and they get over and find out what I did, how much it really counts, it's too late. We began dying the day we were born. None of us know if we have a tomorrow. It's so important to make the best use of the time we have now.
Joyce, in your book, you talk about making certain that you enjoy the other side when you get there so that you deal with your stress and grief now. So if someone is listening or watching, how does someone deal with the stress and grief now without having a life or a near-death experience?
Main thing I've found, when I'm having a tough day, I help someone else who's having a tougher day, because as we help someone else, it helps us. And it's amazing. We do have unique coping techniques. Our nonprofit, Stress and Grief Relief, we have unique coping techniques for dealing with anger, for dealing with stress, traumatic stress, with dealing with depression, and also for preventing suicide, and especially for grief for someone who's lost a loved one. And some places say you have to go through a long period of time for grief to be able to get over it. But when we change our mental pictures and realize the importance of our limited earth time, then we utilize it better. And as we help someone else, it helps us. And then also know we will see our loved ones again. And if we tune in, what are they trying to tell us? If we listen, we will hear that loved ones who become our spiritual cheerleaders are trying to tell us to make the best use of our time. And if we cry and we're down and wasting our time, the other side, they know what we're doing, because we will see our families again. They do care. We do have spiritual cheerleaders that are trying to help us to make the best use of our time. It's kind of like when we go to school. We're learning, we're growing, and you don't want to just skip the test. You want to take and learn so you know, because the mind expanded by a new idea never goes back to its original size.
Amazing. So if you're watching today, please call the number on your screen, and most importantly, go to the website. Receive these free books today, read them, and apply them to your everyday life. And then, as we're asking you here today, join us and become a Hope Doctor yourself. And if you've read the book and you have had this experience of becoming a Hope Doctor, we want to hear your story. We want to share with others what you've gone through and how you've made it to the other side. Thank you so much, Dr. Joyce.
Thank you, and I do appreciate being here to share the message and look forward to hearing from everyone how you've applied it in your life.
Addiction and Recovery TV, we talk about raising awareness, and we also talk about the problems and situations revolving around addiction and recovery. And it's always important to remember that if you struggle in an area and you're looking for help or resources, there are plenty available. And sometimes it just takes a picking up the phone and making one simple phone call that can make all the difference. So remember, we're always available, and we're ready to help you in any way that we know possible. If it's mental health, if it's addiction, even suicide, the help is always readily available. Just take that initiative to reach out and receive it.
let's talk about the Near-Death Survivor Conquers ALS, Depression, Grief, Suicide, and More, A Book of Hope. So this is your second book.
Yes, this is my second book. In my book, Near-Death Survivor Conquers ALS, Depression, Grief, Suicide, and More, A Book of Hope. I've had many miracles, and you can have many miracles too. And I would love to hear from you. You will find a lot of answers to the challenges. Now at almost 90 years old, I've found many answers that I want to share with the world. That's why the book is free when you go to hopedoctor.org. You'll find your answers. And then you can help. This world is filled with people who need hope for the hopeless. I want to share my story with those who will listen, because the next time I die, I want peace of mind. And the world is filled with people who are hurting. And you can't take anything with us except who we've become. We can become a better person by helping other people. I know God is real because I personally was in his presence. No matter whether they call him higher power, God, Lord, God is real. He is with us. Life is a journey. It's not a destination. There is a purpose for living. There is a reason to make it through problems. We grow stronger with making it through problems. We change stress to success by using unique coping techniques that you'll find at hopedoctor.org for free. And as you see what we have there for changing to positive belief, with positive belief, we can change our self-talk. As we change our self-talk, we change our life. We can't just die and give up. If I thought that was true, I'd be the first one to lead the parade out. But having been to the other side, having actually died, gone to the other side, and looking back at my life and being so sorry at all giving up instead of wanting to learn and make the best of it, I now want to share that with others. I finally did after, in 1983, dying, going to the other side, because I'd been very ill. And when I was told I was going to be dying, I was more thrilled than someone else would have been if they won the lottery or if they wouldn't take us to Hawaii. I wasn't going to have to kill myself. I was going to die. But when I actually did, I found out that death was not what I was expecting at all. I had the life review, and I saw how I had wasted my limited, valuable earth time. One of the main things, if someone is feeling suicidal, is to realize death is final. There's not an option after death, but there is life after life, and you want to have the best life you can. So take the time to find out and listen to my story. Whether you read it, whether you hear my story, whether you call somebody, we're helping the world be filled with hope doctors. As the world is filled with hope doctors and sharing it with others, we can find that life is worth living and loving. There is a purpose for living. And as we find our purpose and help others, then we can enjoy life when we get to the other side. It's so important to use the right coping techniques for tools to help with right thinking, right actions. We can journal. Journaling is very powerful when we give thanks. And one of the first things for reaping miracles is to be grateful for the miracles that we have. And then list three great things that we want to accomplish in our life, believing in ourselves and being patient, kind, and loving. Even on the freeways, many people get on the freeways, they don't realize there might be angels in the back seat. As we give, so shall we receive. Journaling and being grateful for what we have before we ask for more. God loves all of us. We're all needed and wanted. And as we become a hope doctor to help others, it helps us. The power of positive affirmations replaces negative thinking with positive thinking. There is power in thinking. There's power in words. There's power in prayer. And as we utilize that for our goals and to help others, then it multiplies. There's power where two or more. There's power in prayer. We can become more of whom we can be. As we help others be a better person, we can be a better person. I am really big into my things. I like things. I had 2 or 3 of almost everything. I'd been around the world, and when an arsonist burned it down, there was nothing left. And at first, it was just devastating to realize there was really nothing there that even showed I'd been on this planet. Then it's amazing what you can find at the bottom. But also, I felt sorry for the arsonists. Can you believe how sad when they get to the other side and find out that instead of having joy or happiness, one of the main things they got joy from hurting someone. I really truly felt sorry for them because they will be someday on the other side and look back. We are all seeking happiness and joy. And as we share it and give it and think the right thoughts, we have new miracles in our lives and with people around us. As we're caring and instead of being easily offended, if we give mercy and if we are understanding, we will receive it and enjoy life too. Receiving answers to prayers is very important. First of all, to be grateful for what we have, and then to realize who we're talking to as we pray. God is real. Pray as if you're talking to someone. He is real. He cares. There are answers to prayers. Pray and know that God is real. If you live your life in a way you don't believe, you're wasting valuable earth time. I sometimes have the hourglass, and our life, the sands of time in our earth life is running out. We never know if we will have it tomorrow. So use earth time wisely and believe in prayer. As we believe, so shall we receive. God is there with miracles. But I found also, when we try all that we try, then when he gives us a miracle, we're more apt to receive a miracle because we've done what we can. I had Lou Gehrig's disease in 1988. I had a very bad case of it. It was diagnosed by 3 doctors, and at first I was in total disbelief. How could I have this? But I was in a neck brace, a leg brace, and I was choking on my own saliva. I had all the symptoms. Like I said, I even lost my voice. I was looking for a voice board to be able to communicate to people. But then I had a marvelous doctor. He sent to Germany for homeopathy and acupuncture. They have many different answers in the world that we don't always have here. And I had a miraculous recovery. When I went to the neurologist that I knew about ALS. He said, he did his tests, and then he said, stick out your tongue. You see, you can't hold your tongue still. I'd been in denial. When I stuck out my tongue and it quivered all over, I realized I had ALS. And he said, you're doing very well for the stage you're in. You should make it to Thanksgiving. 5 months. But with the homeopathy and with the other things that we can do to help build up our own immune system, I had a miraculous healing in 16 weeks. Now we're helping other people. And as people find answers to ALS, they're finding answers to other health problems too. Another book we're working on is What to Do Before and After the Doctor Says Nothing More Can Be Done, a book of hope. There are answers as we search for them.
Miracles are real.
Miracles are real. And as we are a miracle for someone else, we're more apt to receive it. But there's so much knowledge and hope out there in the world. It's a matter of being open to find the answers. I used to believe that some great justice took hold, that all you had to do was find out who was right or wrong, and some great justice took over. But when I was on the other side, I didn't want justice anymore. I wanted mercy. But I discovered if I wanted to receive mercy, I would have had to have given it here in my lifetime. But which also means during my lifetime, which is like a school, when someone does something to us, then that's an opportunity to be forgiving. And as we give mercy to someone else, rather than being petty and wanting justice, then we receive mercy when we're over there. But we have to be patient with someone and realize everyone's at their own level of growth. Be patient and understanding. Don't you want to know where you're going before you pull the trigger on that gun to your head? I'm about to tell you true stories. One day, I answered the suicide hotline, and I heard this woman's frantic voice say to me, I know you helped stop suicide. My brother John called me, and he said he's so depressed, he has his finger on the trigger of his revolver, and when he pulls it, he's going to instant peace. She said, I called the police. They're afraid to break down the door. He might pull the trigger. I said, quick, give me the phone number. I called it. Finally heard a man's voice say, this is John. Goodbye to you and goodbye to the world. Bury me in peace. Believing he could hear me over the answering machine, I said, don't you want to know where you're going before you pull the trigger on that gun? What if it's worse for you after death than where you are now? If suicide is a good idea, it will be a good idea next week. Please hear my story first. Death is not the answer. What I said caught John's interest. He picked up the phone and said, I'll give you 1 week. If I don't agree with what you say, I'm finishing the job. He put the gun down, opened the door for the police. They took him to the mental hospital. What I want to talk to you now about is suicide prevention. Many suicides are done for really small reasons. As an example, Robert, a 17-year-old outstanding high school student, committed suicide. Why? His parents were devastated when they read his note. It said he couldn't face them because he had a B on his report card. He was no longer a straight-A student. Suicide rates are skyrocketing. Back to John. While he was in the mental hospital, he heard my true life after life story. And he changed his mind about wanting to die. And he started a suicide prevention group right there in the hospital. Soon he was released. He went on to college, earned his psychology degree, and continued his life-saving work. I also learned life is too short to be angry, to hold grudges, and the importance of being loving, kind, forgiving, merciful, even on the freeways. Look around you. There are many hurting people who could use a kind word, a good deed. And remember those people you thought of when you were thinking who was suicidal? Maybe you can help prevent suicide. Share my story. Share the message of what if it's worse for you after death than it is now. Suicide is not the answer. Life is worth living and loving, even with all of its challenges.
My name is Joe, and I just want to give a quick testimonial about my experience with drug addiction. I started out when I was much younger, got involved with narcotics at a young age. It certainly took me down quick, fast, and I had no control over it. I've been to many rehab facilities, detoxes, and eventually spending 2 years in prison, which was in fact the best thing that happened to me, because I learned that, until I was ready, I wasn't going to get the help I needed. I didn't ask for help. I didn't want the help. And until something happened for me, which I call was, a power greater than myself intervening, and of course the time in prison, I really needed to feel enough pain. And that's when my new past began. Because what happens is you get a new past, a past worth talking about. Everything in the old past it's there. You got to leave it there. And like I said, the good news is that we can move forward, like myself. And today I'm living a life, beyond my wildest dreams. And it's all because someone, helped me and believed in me, and I believed in myself. And I'm here to tell you that it's possible for you too, if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or any kind of ailment. And the good news is there's hope.
I was 26 years old. I was sitting in my truck in the parking lot of a movie theater getting high.
I was an outcast my whole life, I didn't know where I belonged.
Knocking my head against the wall over and over and over again.
So I came to Narcotics Anonymous. I heard a message that made my ears pop.
People who I can relate to and identify with. Managed to heal relationships, start families, and be happy with life.
Drug problem? We can help. We've been there. Narcotics Anonymous.